Welcome to the Public Gems podcast, where we do deep dives on movies and TV shows from the Golden Age and beyond.
That's right. And today we're looking at a film that's, well, often called the best Hitchcock movie Hitchcock never made.
Which is quite a claim, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially since Hitchcock had nothing to do with directing it.
Exactly. We're talking about the 1963 classic Charade. It's this fantastic mix of romance, comedy, mystery, thriller.
Starring Audrey Hepburn and Cary Grant. An iconic pairing.
Absolutely. And for this deep dive, Charade is like a perfect example of what we call a public gem.
Right. So our mission today is to unpack this gem. We'll look at the really twisty plot, the amazing chemistry between the leads, some great behind-the-scenes stuff.
And crucially, the very unique legal reason it became a public gem, basically. Accessible to everyone. We've gone through the original script, production notes, all of it.
Okay, let's set the scene. It's directed and produced by Stanley Donen. Screenplay by Peter Stone and Mark Bem.
And yeah, Grant and Hepburn are the stars, but the supporting cast. Walter Matthau, James Coburn, George Kennedy. Really strong.
They definitely are. But what makes Charade stand out, I think, is how it blends genres so well.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just one thing. It slides between, like, suspense and witty banter so smoothly.
Yeah, you're on the edge of your seat 1 minute, and then you're laughing the next.
Yeah.
Critics loved it, right?
Right.
Especially the screenplay and that chemistry.
Totally. That sparkling chemistry is always mentioned, and that's why it gets that Hitchcock comparison, even though done and directed.
It earned it. Plus, you've got the look of it, too. Filmed in Paris.
Which looks amazing, adds so much atmosphere, and those cool animated titles by Maurice Binder.
Oh, yeah, and the Henry Mancini theme song. Instantly recognizable.
It all adds up. No surprise it was selected for the National Film Registry in 2022. It's culturally significant.
Okay, let's get into this plot, because it's a real maze of lies and secrets.
It really is. It starts with Regina Lampert, Reggie, played by Hepburn. She's an American in Paris on a ski trip thinking about divorcing her husband, Charles.
And that's where she first meets Peter Joshua, Cary Grant's character. Kind of a chaotic, funny meeting involving snowballs, I think.
That's the one. But things get dark fast. She goes back to Paris.
And finds her apartment totally empty, wiped clean.
Exactly. Then the police, Inspector Grandpierre, tell her Charles has been murdered right after selling off everything they owned.
Wow. Talk about a shock.
And the funeral is just bizarre. Hardly anyone's there, but these three shady guys show up: Scobie, Gideon, and Tex.
Yeah, and they do weird things like sticking a pin in the body, using a mirror.
Just confirming he's really dead. It immediately tells you something's very wrong.
Okay, so things are already spiraling. Then she gets called to the American embassy.
Right. To meet a CIA guy, Hamilton Bartholomew, played by Walter Matthau, and he drops the real bombshell.
Which
Charles wasn't who she thought. During WWII, he and those guys from the funeral, plus another man named Carson Dial, were in the OSS.
the precursor to the CIA.
Right. They stole $250,000 in gold meant for the French resistance. That's like $4.5 million today.
Whoa.
And Charles double-crossed them all, took the money, and disappeared.
So Bartholomew thinks Reggie has the money now, even if she doesn't know it.
Exactly. He warns her she's in serious danger from the other guys who want the money back, and, well, the U.S. government wants its gold, too.
Okay, so she's caught in the middle. And what about Peter Joshua, the charming guy from the ski slopes?
Ah, yes, Peter. This is where it gets really twisty. He seems helpful at first, charming.
But then
Then he tells Reggie he's actually Alexander Dial, Carson Dial's brother. Says he wants justice for Carson, claiming the others killed him.
okay, so identity number 2?
But wait, Reggie checks this with Bartholomew, who says, nope, Carson Dial didn't have a brother.
Uh-oh. So Peter, or Alexander, is lying again.
Right, so he then admits, okay, he's really Adam Canfield, a professional thief. He's just after the money like everyone else, probably.
Probably. You really don't know who to trust. And meanwhile, people are actually dying. Right?
Oh, yeah. Scobie gets murdered. Then Gideon. The danger is very real, and Adam looks more and more suspicious.
So where's the money? If it's not cash, what is it?
This is the brilliant part. Reggie and Adam figure it out. Charles converted the gold into something portable, something concealable.
Which was?
Stamps.
Yeah.
Incredibly valuable, rare stamps. He'd stuck them onto a letter in his travel bag like they were nothing.
No way. Just stuck them on an envelope?
Pretty much. And Sylvie's son, Jean-Louis Sylvie's, Reggie's friend, he found the letter, saw the stamps, and traded them to a stamp dealer for, like, pocket money.
Oh my God. He had no idea.
None. And these weren't just any stamps. We're talking a Swedish rarity worth maybe 85 grand, a Hawaiian one worth $65, and this super rare Gazette Mulav worth $100,000.
So that's the $250,000 in stamps. Wow.
Exactly. They find the dealer, get the stamps back, but the danger isn't over.
Because there's still one killer out there.
Right. Then Tex Panthello turns up dead, but before he dies, he writes "Dial" in the dust.
Dial. So Reggie thinks it must be Adam, a.k.a. Alexander Dial, the supposed brother.
Makes sense, right? She panics, calls Bartholomew for help. It all leads to this amazing climax at the Palais Royal.
Yeah, great location for a showdown.
Adam's chasing Reggie. She runs towards Bartholomew, thinking he'll save her. She's trapped between them.
And the big reveal.
The final big reveal. Adam points at Bartholomew and says he's the real Carson Dial.
Wait, Bartholomew? Walter Matthau?
Yep. He was the fifth man. He wasn't killed in the original ambush. He faked his death, took on a new identity, and came back for the golden revenge. He killed Scobie, Gideon, and Tex.
That's brilliant. So Adam
manages to trigger a trap door under the stage there in this old theater area, and Dial falls to his death.
So Adam isn't the killer. But who is he, really? Is he just a thief?
That's the final twist. The next day, back at the embassy, we find out Adam Canfield, or Peter Joshua, or Alexander Dial is actually Brian Cruikshank, a U.S. Treasury agent. His whole mission was to get the stolen government property, the stamps, back.
Wow. Okay. So he was playing everyone.
Pretty much. Playing a role the whole time, which, makes the romance angle even more complicated, doesn't it?
It does. And how does it end? Does he just walk away?
Well, it is a romantic comedy, too, remember? He proposes to Reggie.
He does, after all that.
Yep. And Reggie, being Reggie, has this great line, something like, she hopes they have lots of baby boys so she can name them all after him, given all his aliases.
Huh. That's perfect. Acknowledges the whole crazy identity thing.
Exactly. It's a really neat wrap-up.
What a ride. Okay, let's talk about behind the scenes. This film almost didn't happen, right?
That's right. The original script, called The Unsuspecting Wife, got rejected by studios.
So what changed?
Peter Stone, the writer, was clever. He rewrote it as a novel, also called Charade, and got it serialized in Redbook magazine.
And that got Hollywood interested.
Yep. Suddenly, the same studios that passed were interested. Stanley Donen snapped up the rights, and they tailored it specifically for Grant and Hepburn. Smart move.
Clearly. Now, you mentioned the age gap. Grant was almost 60, Hepburn in her early 30s.
Yeah, a 25-year difference. And apparently, Grant was quite sensitive about it. He felt uncomfortable playing the older man pursuing a younger woman.
So how did they handle that in the script?
They deliberately wrote lines for Grant's character acknowledging his age. More importantly, they made Reggie the pursuer in the relationship. She's the one who seems more interested initially.
Ah, that flips the usual dynamic, makes it feel less predatory, maybe
Yes.
more balanced.
Exactly. It was a conscious choice to address that potential issue.
Interesting. And there was another change, a line of dialogue that got altered.
Yes, a really timely one. The film was set for release around Christmas 1963. Just weeks after President Kennedy's assassination. There was a line where Hepburn originally said, "At any moment we could be assassinated." Given the timing, that felt, well, inappropriate.
Yeah, definitely too raw.
So they quickly overdubbed it, changed assassinated to eliminated, just for that initial release.
Wow. Have they kept that change?
Actually, no. Later video releases restored the original line, assassinated, so you can hear it as intended now. But it's a fascinating snapshot of reacting to real-world events.
It really is. And the locations, we mentioned Paris, they filmed a lot there.
About half the movie, yeah,
Yeah.
which gives it that authentic feel. The rest was studio, but those Paris exteriors, the Seine, the markets, they really ground the film.
Plus the opening ski resort scenes in Megève
Yeah.
in the Alps.
Right, provides that beautiful contrast before everything goes wrong in Paris.
So the reception was great, critical acclaim.
Universal acclaim, pretty much. Praise for the script, the stars, the whole package. It holds up so well.
And it always gets compared to Hitchcock,
Yeah.
especially North by Northwest.
Which also starred Cary Grant, of course. And it has that similar blend of suspense, romance, and touches of humor in dangerous situations. It's a fair comparison. Charade really nails that tone.
Did it win awards?
It did pretty well. Got an Oscar nomination for Best Song for the title track Charade.
Mancini and Mercer, great song.
Yep. And Audrey Hepburn won a BAFTA for Best British Actress, even though she's playing an American, but it was British award category then. And Peter Stone won an Edgar Allan Poe Award for the screenplay.
And Edgar. That's fitting for a mystery writer.
Absolutely. Recognition for how clever that script really is.
Okay, so this brings us to the really unique part, the public gem aspect.
Yeah.
How does Charade end up in the public domain?
This is kind of unbelievable, really. It entered the public domain in the U.S. immediately upon release.
Immediately. Not after 50 years or 70 years, but straight away. How?
It boils down to a tiny mistake in the copyright notice on the film itself. Not exactly a typo, but an omission. Back then, U.S. copyright law was super strict. You had to include the word copyright or the abbreviation COP or the little A symbol in the notice.
Okay.
Universal's notice on Charade said, MCML Day 3 by Universal Pictures Company, NC, and Stanley Don Films, NC, all rights reserved. It had the year, the owners.
But not the word copyright or the symbol.
Exactly. It was missing that one required element. And because of that omission, under the law at the time, the copyright was considered invalid from day one.
Wow. Just poof. No copyright.
Poof. Public domain. A major motion picture with huge stars. It's kind of amazing.
So what did that mean, practically speaking, for the film and for audiences?
It meant anyone could copy, distribute, and show the film without needing permission or paying royalties to Universal, at least in the U.S.
Which explains why you used to see Charade everywhere, right? Cheap VHS tapes, DVDs, TV broadcasts.
Exactly. It became incredibly accessible. You can find it easily online, on YouTube, the Internet Archive, alongside official restored versions, of course. It truly made it a film for everyone.
That's incredible. A public gem, literally because the public gained free access. Did Universal ever try to fix it?
Well, by the time the mistake was likely realized under the law then, it was probably too late. The work was published without proper notice, injecting it into the public domain.
So is everything about the film public domain?
Yeah.
Like the music?
Good question. No, that's the interesting bit. The film is public domain, but the original musical score by Henry Mancini is still under copyright.
Okay, so you can watch the movie freely.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to use, say, the Charade theme song in your own YouTube video or a commercial, you'd still need to license it.
Precisely. The music rights are separate and were properly secured. So the film itself is free, but its famous score isn't when used separately.
What a fascinating twist.
Right.
So, wrapping up, Charade is just. It's a masterpiece of juggling genres. You've got the stars, the wit, the suspense, Paris.
Unforgettable performances, sharp script, keeps you guessing right to the end.
But knowing this public domain story adds another layer, doesn't it? It's not just a classic film. It's this unique example of a public gem made accessible by, well, a legal loophole.
It really is. And it makes you think, maybe how does knowing that backstory, that it's freely available because of an oversight, change how you appreciate it? Does it make its timelessness feel even more special?
That's a great question to ponder. Perhaps it encourages you to seek out other hidden or maybe not so hidden public domain treasures out there, films that everyone can discover.
Definitely worth thinking about.
And that is our deep dive into the wonderful, twisty, and uniquely public gem, Charade.